Hello, rodeo fans, and welcome back to the latest episode of the Short Round Podcast. I'm your host, Wacey Anderson, and we have a stacked up show for you this week. We got Tyler Kraft, WNFR pickup man. We got 12-time CPRA Announcer of the Year, Brett Gardiner, joining us today's show. So it's going to be an awesome one. We'll catch up with those guys, and we'll wrap up the 2023 Wrangler NFR here shortly. But before we get into that, some new business on the pro rodeo front. So the CPRA recently announced a new multi-year partnership with Kalani Sports, which is Canada's fastest growing lifestyle outdoor brand. So look for some big things coming from Kalani and from the CPRA in 2024. I'm super stoked about the partnership. I think it's going to do nothing but good on both sides of the coin. So going to be some fun stuff coming in 2024. We got the Ponoka Stampede announced that they're increasing their payout across the board in all the major events, which is some huge news for athletes and spectators and everyone across the board. The Ponoka Stampede will now pay $60,000 across all their major events, which is some game-changing money when it comes to world standings and Canadian standings conversations. So bravo to the Ponoka Stampede. They continue to innovate and set the bar for rodeo and Canada and rodeo in general. They're always looking for new ways to make the experience better for contestants and for fans. So looking forward to seeing some new champions crowned and some big money handed out 2024 Ponoka Stampede. So Las Vegas events and the PRCA announced that the Wrangler NFR will be staying in Las Vegas through 2035, which is outstanding news. I mean, when you think Wrangler NFR, you think Las Vegas. So there's no better place in the world to have it. So I'm stoked that it's staying there through 2035. So that's going to take us into our 2023 Wrangler NFR wrap up. And what can I say? It was an outstanding 2 weeks of rodeo. It had a little bit of everything. There was some drama, big scores, fast runs, records broken, records tied. I mean, what more could you ask for in a finals rodeo? And we even had some Canadians walk out with some world champions. So it was an awesome 2 weeks of rodeo down in Sin City. So just to recap everything, in case you missed it, here are your 2023 world champions. In the bareback riding, we got Keenan Hayes, but an outstanding season, outstanding NFR. So congratulations, Keenan. Awesome to see you pick up your first world title, especially as a rookie. That's no small feat. In the steer wrestling, we got Tyler Wagasback picking up his fifth world title. It was a hard fought 2 weeks by him, and he was able to pick up his world title in the last round there. So congratulations, Tyler. That's great stuff. In the team roping, we got Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorpe. They came in as the season leaders and walked out with world championships. So hats off to them for a great week of roping and getting the job done. That'll take us to the saddle bronc riding, where the king in the north, Zeke Thurston, picked up his fourth world championship and kind of just won the first round, put everybody else in his rearview mirror, and walked away with a world title and the aggregate title. So congratulations, Zeke. We're super stoked for you taking home that fourth world title. In the tie down roping, Riley Webb was able to, again, kind of like Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorpe, he came in as the season leader and walked away the world championship and was able to fend off the Wolves and Haven Medjed and Caleb Smith and all them guys who were coming after him. So hats off to Riley for getting the job done and getting his world title. In the barrel race, we got Brittany Posey-Tanazi. What's there to say about her? She broke the season's earning record in WPRA. She pretty much ran the field the whole 10 days, aside from a small slip up in round 10 where she knocked a barrel and unfortunately got herself out of the average, but still was able to win enough money and take home the world title. So hats off to Brittany. Nice work. In the bull riding, Kai Hamilton became the first Australian-born cowboy to win a world title in the PRCA. And his week was quite the adventure. At one point, we all thought he might be done for the SNFR, and he comes back and wins 2 rounds in one day to take home $114,000, which ultimately led to him taking home the aggregate title and the Top Gun Award at the Wrangler NFR. So hats off to Kai. Great job this season. In the breakaway roping, Canadian Shelby Beaujolais was able to take home her first world title at the National Finals breakaway a couple days before the start of the NFR down to South Point. She roped solid the whole week, finished second in the average, and was able to break the breakaway roping season's earning record. So well done, Shelby. We are also super stoked for you as Canadians for our Canadian gal. And the all-around Stetson Wright picked up his 8th world title after unfortunately not being able to compete after the second round of the Wrangler NFR. He had won enough money throughout the season to hold on to that title, and we wish Stetson a speedy recovery as he heals up that hamstring and gets ready to come back in 2024. So like I mentioned, we had 2 Canadians win some world titles. Just kind of want to touch on that a little bit more. Starting with Shelby Beaujolais, she took home her first world title at the National Finals breakaway roping, and she'd set the tone throughout the season. She came in as the #1 girl, Everybody was gunning for her, and she did not let anybody kind of get into that picture. She roped super solid at the South Point. Like I said, finishing second in the average and putting some solid runs together. So congratulations, Shelby. We're super stoked for you to win your first world title, and it's the first of many. Nobody works harder than her. So awesome stuff. And once again, we're going to talk about Zeke Thurston. Zeke became the first saddle bronc rider to win the world championship and NFR aggregate title in back-to-back years. And he broke his own earnings record, collecting $456,000 throughout the 2023 season, accompanied by almost $250,000 won at the NFR. So awesome stuff, Zeke. And he also joins Canadian Pete Knight as the only two Canadian saddle bronc riders to win 4 world titles. So I think it's pretty safe to say that Zeke might break Pete's record for most titles won by a Canadian in the saddle bronc riding in the PRCA. So again, hats off to Zeke, man. Like, another cool thing to note about the 2023 Wrangler NFR, like I mentioned at the top of the show, pickup man Tyler Kraft got selected to work his first NFR, which was super cool news. And he becomes one of 3 Canadians, joining Wayne Vold and Gary Rempel as the only Canadians to work the NFR. So I'm super stoked to talk to Tyler. He's got a cool story. He has probably the coolest job in the world as a Calgary Stampede ranch manager and as a pickup man. And he's got the horse of the year. I mean, what more is there to say about Tyler? So without further ado, let's throw it to our first interview with Tyler Kraft on episode 3 of the Short Round Podcast. We'll catch you on the other side. Welcome back to the Short Round Podcast. We're excited to welcome our first guest of episode 3. He's a CFR, Calgary Stampede, and Wrangler NFR pickup man, and he is the ranch manager at the world famous Calgary Stampede Ranch. Welcome to the show, Tyler Kraft. How's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. So you're coming off a big week in Vegas. You worked your first Wrangler NFR, 10 exciting nights down at the Thomas Mack. You're one of 3 Canadians to ever work the NFR as a pickup man. Talk a bit about how the week went and some of your highlights down in Vegas.
Yeah, it was a surreal couple weeks. The lead up to it, from the couple banquets we went to, and then kind of got a little hiccup there with the UNLV shooting, and kind of got missed a day there, and started up on Friday. But yeah, once we got going, it was just like the rodeo. It was fast paced, and it just flew by. Once we hit Wednesday, where we had 2 perfs, I mean, it was gone within no time. So yeah, it went by fast, but got to enjoy it. A lot of aspects of it, and great crew, and great, picked up with Josh Edwards, and had an awesome partner. Couldn't have asked for much more, I thought.
When you're a pretty quiet and reserved guy most of the time, and don't show a whole heck of a lot of emotion, but what was that feeling like riding into the arena the first time for that first performance?
It's honestly, I didn't like you say, I'd try to keep it to myself as much as I can. But yeah, that you kind of ride around where the timed event contestants settle in and sit on your horse, and about 20 minutes before, and it's pitch black, and you can hear all the sights and sounds and smells of the rodeo getting started, and you just basically sit there for 20 minutes in the pitch black, and you just wait, and honestly, I got the jitters like I've never felt before. But I mean, that was the awesome part about it, I guess. I mean, that was a childhood dream to ride into that arena. And me and my brothers had watched the NFR since you could watch it on the NFR, and VHS tapes watching it, and so it was a dream that I've always wanted to happen. And to be able to ride in there, and it was awesome. And once the first gate cracked and horse came to me, flank side, and picked the guy up, and then it was right into business. But yeah, it was I would never take it as a right to be there. It was darn sure a privilege, for sure.
Well, and like I said, you're one of 3 Canadians now to work the NFR as a pickup man. Talk a bit about the guys ahead of you, kind of how they paved the way and what it means to you to represent your country kind of in that realm at the NFR.
Yeah, Wayne Vold and Gary Rempel, the other 2 that have been able to crack it. I mean, it's a tough thing to crack. I mean, there's only 2 that ever get picked, and 65 NFRs that have happened. Just things that I've learned and from other pickup men, and to get to that point, and you can't thank them enough, and what you've learned from either watching or being taught. And my horses, I feel like, deserve the award just as much as me, and they're the ones that give a lot of credit to getting me there.
So did you hear from Gary and Wayne before you went down there? Did they have any words of advice or encouragement
Yeah,
before you
yeah,
left?
yeah. I got a few texts, and then Wayne was down there, so I got to spend a fair bit of time with him a couple days prior, and and it's easy to say when people, oh shoot, it's just another rodeo, but yeah,
It's
I
like
get that.
it's the
Yeah,
rodeo.
yeah,
Yeah.
the rodeo too, right? So it's it's a lot, yeah.
Well, before we move forward, I kind of want to jump into the past season and how that went for you. So you were an alternate in 2022. How did you feel coming into 2023? Like, did you feel like you had a pretty good shot to get picked? Was that kind of at the top of your goals for 2023? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know. It's there's a contract personnel like that. I don't know. It's tough to say if it's a goal. Like, I mean, it's a voted on position. So
Mm-hmm.
the way I kind of think about it is, I mean, you just try to do the best you can at every perf, and I'm constantly trying to make my horsemanship better, my horses better, and I mean that's kind of my end goal. As long as I can do my job and kind of let the chips fall, as whether them guys are interested in taking to the NFR. So yeah, it was a 2022 was great, and being selected as the alternate, but it's not being there for sure. So
Well, you mentioned your horsepower and how important that is, and that's the one thing I love about watching the pickup men. Like, you guys ride like unbelievable horses, and it's so smooth every time you guys work together, and getting to work with guys like Tyler Thompson and that kind of stuff. You guys do a great job. Your horse baby won Horse of the Year down in the U.S. and up here. Talk a bit about your horse, how much that means to you to be able to ride that quality of a horse.
yeah, it was the inaugural year, and so that makes it that much special. It might be one of the awards I never win again there, but yeah, I mean, it's that horse has been a great addition for us. We've owned it since a colt, and the horse just works good all the time. Little watchy, but I mean, it's works good, and I don't think anybody can deny that.
So are you raising and training most of your pickup horses then, or do you pick
Yeah,
some
for the
up along
most
the
part,
way?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
right on.
I've never really bought any like either. Yeah, I'd never really had enough money to buy them as started anything, so I've always had to do the ground or do the work from the bottom. So that's kind of, but we've been at it for a decade,
Mm-hmm.
and so kind of we getting horses staged and young horses brought up every year, and that's kind of been our what I enjoy too. It's just not a job. I've always started and messed with colts and got them started, and that's what I enjoy in life. So
Well, and being on the Stampede Ranch kind of helps you being able to be around that amazing stock and all the land you guys own up there. It's like a perfect scenario to be raising pickup horses.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, getting to ride horses and look after horses. I mean, we kind of pretty much in the middle of nowhere. So I mean, we got to make our own fun and our own entertainment. So that's kind of what me and my family do is we ride a lot of horses.
Let's talk about Vegas and like the 2 weeks. It's the biggest rodeo in the world. You had the best seat in the house. What were some of the highlights for you throughout the week? There's some crazy moments in the saddle bronc riding, the bareback riding. You got to see it all. What was some of your favorite things that happened?
One right off the top of my head would be Zeke on Explosive Sky World. The
That was a
world.
match made in heaven, hey.
Yeah, current world. I mean, the only thing that would have made it better is if it was round 10. But I mean,
Yeah.
nothing wrong with round 5. But yeah, current world champion with the world champion Bronc, and goes 91, and I mean that's place just absolutely blew up. I don't know. Some of your viewers probably might not think that I liked it, but I mean, Kai Hamilton. That was when they played that darn song. I don't know what it's called, but it was just such a crazy feeling in that building when he was getting ready to ride, and then even the day that the night that he got knocked out, and then that morning nobody really knew or nobody said anything, and all of a
Mm-hmm,
sudden
mm-hmm.
it was just kind of out of the blue. This Kai Hamilton's they're
He's
playing a
back.
song or whatever. Yeah, they're playing
Yeah.
a song. And it was like, holy cow, this guy's he plays for Pink Slips, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
So jumping back to that where Kai got knocked out, what are you doing in that scenario as the pickup man, trying to help out the bullfighters and everybody else in the arena?
Yeah, on him, them bullfighters are them 3 guys were so good there, and if that bull was to ever kind of give us enough room to weasel in there, be able to get a rope on him, that's where we would have had it. But them guys had that situation as best as they could have it under control with that bull staying very close to the out gate, and so we were close, but not we weren't wanting to make it any worse than it was going to be. And so it went as, with what had happened. I mean, them guys did an amazing job.
So another guy who did really well down in Vegas was a guy you're close with, Jared Parsonage. He had a completely night and day different NFR than what he did in 2022. What was it like being able to watch Jared have a great week, come fourth in the average, had a really great ride at the end, round 10. It was awesome.
Yeah, great to see it. We kind of alternate. I only rode bulls 5 nights of the 10 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I was sitting in the back there watching, and he went out, first guy out, and ends up winning the round or whatever. But when I got a chance to talk to him, I said, I'm your friend. And I said, I was even clapping for you. So
That's awesome. One question I wanted to ask you is how many people asked you to ride one of your horses in the Grand Entry during the NFR?
Would have been close to 10 probably. Yeah.
Did anything crazy happen? We didn't get to see it on TV, but did anything Western happen in the Grand Entry?
Yeah, or so I only let 3, or could only let 3 of the ones, like they wouldn't let us. The 2 bareback horses had to stay put, and then the other 3 that were saddled went. And so Vizico always rode the horse of the year, Baby, and Leighton Green rode the red man. And then I kind of alternated I had a 4-year-old blue horse and a Oscar Walter horse that I kind of alternated them from saddling them. So Ben Anderson got either one of them too. But anyways, I actually never even talked to him about it, but they, for whatever reason, on the 4-year-old blue horse, Dawson Hay decided to double on him. And, I mean, absolutely had that poor colt just absolutely row locked and right in the flank and made this bugger hog around the whole Thompson map. And I had to sit there and just watch it. Yeah, it was kind of funny, but it felt sorry for the horse.
No doubt.
4 years old and never
first big rodeo like that.
Yeah,
oh man, that's funny. So now when you put your Calgary Stampede ranch manager hat on at the NFR, how cool was it to watch the success of like the Calgary Stampede bucking horses? Like I think they placed in like pretty much every round and saddle bronc riding on your guys' horses, and just all around was a great showing.
Yeah, I mean, when we got that list, 18 broncs and 5 barebacks, record for Calgary to get that many horses to the finals. And I mean, getting that sort of success, it comes that added pressure of hoping that these animals are going to be perform and having them in good shape and looking good going into it. And Ken Rehill did a great job all week flanking them and getting them down there safe and sound. Yeah, and then just to go on and have they had a great consistent year all year, and to go in and finish it off at the NFR and I think won a handful of go around wins and placed on a bunch. And I mean, you couldn't ask for a better finals out of them broncs. And yeah, top it off with Explosive Skies winning the horse of the bronc of the finals. Just put an exclamation on what an award-winning mare. I mean, we knocked down the bucket list of everything that she's won, and you're going to run out of things that she can't or hasn't already accomplished.
Oh yeah,
at a fairly young age. I mean, from a bareback horse of the world, bareback horse of the finals, and on the opposite end, world record holder. Yeah, she's a living legend, and yeah, just couldn't be more proud of her.
Yeah, she's something else. And that trip she had in round 10 was all there. Hey, like that was awesome to see.
Just, I mean, Wyatt Casper is as consistent as they come, and he doesn't hit the ground very often. So to put him on the ground in short order like that, I mean, just like I said, put an exclamation point on her for sure.
Okay, so let's move away from the NFR stuff and go into kind of your job with the Calgary Stampede. Talk a bit about like what's a day in the life for you at the Stampede Ranch on normal days when you're not on the road heading to rodeos.
Yeah, honestly it varies. There's no day that's the same. Yeah, we're just basically doing chores. It's pretty low key around here right now. Weather's beautiful, not too much stuff to go wrong as far as frozen waters, whiteouts, plowing snow. It's pretty relaxed right now. We can get a few projects done here and there and get caught up on some paperwork and whatnot. But July and June and August are a little bit different story. But yeah, it's no different than any other ranch. 80 some miles of fence to mend, fix, repair kind of a thing. Constantly, checking horses and water can be an issue, and it's going to continue to be an issue for quite a while around here. We're in kind of dire straits out here. No different than a cow calf operation. We're breeding stock and creating the next wave of horses.
So you mentioned, you talk about that next kind of wave of stock. So what goes into that? Like, how are you guys consistently pumping out the world's best bucking horses?
I don't know. I try to, again, it's all back to the grassroots,
Mhm.
that come from the people that came before me. The job that they did is been able to make my job easier. And I mean, not to steal a Harry Wold quote, you breed the best of the best and hope for the best. And I think that's what you try to do. And everything looks good on paper. Doesn't mean it's going to always turn out, and there's stuff that maybe you're, a little bit dicey on the paper, and it might be the best one you ever seen. So I don't think there's any set formula that sets us apart from. There's a lot of great breeding programs out there that are just as good. And yeah, I think it's just been feels like goes in waves, I guess. Right now we're doing pretty good.
Well, and it takes a village to kind of make an operation like that run. So why don't you talk about some of the people who kind of help you along the way? Like obviously your family is a very huge part of it, and there's some other guys kind of pitching in along the way. So talk a bit about the team that goes into building this great program.
Yeah, there's lots of moving pieces with it. We do about 125 performances a rodeo a year, so I mean it doesn't just happen. But yeah, there's Ken Rehill, Goose. Everyone knows Goose. I've been a flank man for pushing 30 years for Calgary. Truck driver extraordinaire. Justin Bino, Grant Bino. They're local guys that help in many different facets of the ranch and on the road and at rodeos. Charlie McKinnon's been working at the ranch for a decade now, and is solid as a rock, quiet guy, similar to myself, and he's just been a great asset to the ranch and does a good job with it. And Travis Erickson started working and picking up for us in June, and same thing, been a great asset and going good. So
another thing that kind of the Calgary Stampede and Calgary Stampede, the ranch and everything, they put a lot of emphasis on growing the bucking stock. But another thing you guys try to develop is the youth of rodeo and the novice events and stuff. One thing I wanted to talk about is how cool was it to see the success of some of the guys who've come through that program, like Zeke and Dawson, Stetson Wright. He's been a Calgary Stampede novice champion. Like how neat was that to see kind of those guys find their success kind of coming up through that grassroots program?
yeah, I think it's exceptional, and I think that, I mean, that set of guys. I remember going to we used to take high school horses to the high school finals in Ponoka, and I remember that set of guys. I mean, you just knew that they were a cut above anything the world has ever seen. I mean, Leighton, Zeke, Clint Lay was in on that side, and like them guys were just so good. Even at that point, you could just tell they were cut from a different cloth, and they were going to raise the level, and it shows, right? Them guys have, at a young age then, and they're young right now, and
Yeah.
it's so impressive to watch, and the respect that Zeke and Leighton, for as young as they are, they just are held with great respect in the rodeo community.
Well, crazy. Like Zeke's not even 30 and he's already got the 4 world titles under his belt and been kicking ass. So I'm so excited to see what he can do like the rest of his career. He can probably win 6 or 7 of the damn things. So that's pretty cool. How do you balance everything? You got the ranch manager stuff, you got the pickup man schedule, you're a busy guy, lots going on. How do you able to keep yourself sane and balance everything you got going on?
I don't know. I don't suggest going to Las Vegas for 2 weeks. I know that. But, I don't know. I think I got a good wife and 3 kids, and I don't know, we try to do everything as a family, and that's kind of our thing, I guess, is horses and rodeos and stuff like that. So I think that really helps. And I think if I was to detach my family from the rodeo scene, I think it would make it a lot harder. Mm-hmm. But we kind of stay as one group and as whole. And like I said, we've got great people, Charlie and Goose, that pick up my slack when I fall short. So can't say, can't appreciate them anymore or more, right?
What's 2024 look like for you guys? You specifically, another busy year on the trail. Are you gonna be gunning for another NFR? What's it look like for Tyler Kraft and family?
Yeah, I think kind of no different than any other year. Just hopefully going to provide a good product at the rodeos and do a good job. And yeah, our kids are getting busy with junior rodeos and all kinds of stuff like that. So yeah, gotta kind of, hopefully they don't steal too many of my horses, and I can still go pick up at a few rodeos.
That's gonna be the tough part when you're battling over your good pickup horses for the rodeo horses, eh?
The battle has begun.
Oh, that's awesome. So on the production side of things, how important is that to you guys, and how are you paying attention to other places you go or other rodeos you attend to stuff you can pull into what you deliver at the Stampede and other places that you guys go with your crew?
I don't have a lot to do with the production side. I mean, we're just kind of the buck and horse type of thing, but I mean, there's lots of things that you see throughout the year, whether it be from a Houston or all them Texas rodeos. They're so they seem very innovative and kind of always. So I mean, just little reports you can take back to the office, and the mares and colts thing. I mean, that's been a kind of a staple in the Calgary Stampede deal for 7 or 8 years now. And I mean, that was a idea taken from Houston, but it's something that the regular rodeo watch people that are watching rodeos regular, I might see it all the time, but I mean, it is a very new thing for your first time rodeo person watch new people coming in. So I mean, lots of times the people that are coming to Calgary probably aren't watching, aren't going to go to Houston. So you can say recycled, but it's their own spin, and that's the cool thing about it is that the Calgary Stampede is they're showcasing their own horses, right? Which is very very cool.
So one event I forgot to ask about, and I would love to hear how, like, kind of through your lens, how it all came together is the Hardgrass Bronc match, which it's become like the premier saddle bronc riding event in Canada or in the world. You could even say it's just a 1 day kind of bull riding PBR style buck and horse event. It's awesome in the middle of a field, central Alberta. Talk a bit about that and how that's come together and what it's turned into over these past few years.
I mean, that was just basically one of them, just a night that you scratched a piece of paper and kind of drew a little bit of a scale on what you wanted to see, and kind of took it to the Berry Creek Ag Society board and thought, they were doing a mud bog, and kind of heard rumblings about how this doesn't make any money, this doesn't do nothing for the community, and so that was kind of the idea got tossed around, and a few of us local people and the help of the ranch, and got it up and lifted and kind of begged, stealed, and borrowed to get the first year on its feet. And I mean, I've never been in around an event that has gained this much traction in such a short amount of
crazy. If you're connected to the rodeo world at all, about this event. Like, there's been the world record's been broken there twice now. Like, it's insane.
And the community and the province, and even what, like, Western Canada gets behind. There's people that are traveling from big hours to come to it. Like I said, it's for such a small event that's quite new in the whole scheme of things. It's people talking, bucket list, got to go to Cheyenne and Calgary and Pendleton and Pollockville. I need to go there too. And it's like, them shouldn't go together, but for whatever reason, it for a little event, the community has just really got behind it and made it into an exceptional event. And I mean, and same thing. I mean, the great horses and this wave of bronc riders is they're as much to the success of it all. I mean, they create the storyline whether they know it or not, and every year, and it's just one thing after another. Them the Clay Elliott's, the Leighton, all past winners and whatnot of it, and them guys, they were young, and they've turned it into what it is. It was not just the buck and horses of the community. I mean, them guys, they set up the whole deal.
It's kind of like for me, like, coming from like a bull riding more of that experience. Like, it's kind of like the Glen Keely bull riding in Claresholm. Like, there's just something in the air where it's like there's 90-point rides, or the guys bring their best, and the animals bring their best at that for that night. It's such a cool event. It's definitely like I can like being there. I can see why people have it on their bucket list and why they put it up there with the Pendletons, the Calgarys, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool what you guys have done. I think it's a great event.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of the old west out here, and it's just there's not too many rules, and you kind of get to come and let your hair down for the weekend for sure.
Well, okay, before I let you go, Tyler, I want to know, as we're heading into the new year, what are some of the up and coming Stampede buckers we should be watching for in 2024?
Oh shoot, I don't ever like to brag on horses because they make a liar out of you every time. But I mean, one right off the, I guess, just thinking, after had a great Canadian finals. There's a horse called Flying Karma. She was a 5-year-old that we bucked at the Canadian finals. They won both rounds that they used her in at the Canadian finals, and the 6-year-old horse that won both rounds that they used her at the NFR. I mean, for a young horse to go into their first finals like that, and to bat 1,000. I mean, it's incredible. And so them two horses, Exotic Warrior and Flying Karma, I think two horses that have never been to the Canadian finals or the NFR to go into each one of their respected finals and bat 1,000. I think them were definitely going to be horses to watch for moving forward. Yeah, I think there's a lot more to where that come from for sure. But like I said, I don't like to
we'll leave it at that.
Don't like to put too many on pedestals.
We don't want anybody coming to you next time we're angry at you, being like, I haven't bet on this horse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right on. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, Tyler. Congratulations on a great season all around. It's been fun to watch you from my perspective, and I'm sure everybody else has really enjoyed watching you do your work. Like, you're one of the best, and yeah, all the best in 2024.
Appreciate it.
Thanks again to Tyler Kraft for joining us on the short round. He had a great season. It was fun to catch up with him and hear about a great Wrangler NFR. And that brings us to our next segment, where I'm joined by the CPRA Announcer of the Year, Brett Gardiner. Brett, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining me.
Man, I'm doing great, buddy. Thanks for having me. This is exciting. I appreciate you.
I couldn't think of a better person to go through kind of 2023 and the year that was in pro rodeo than the microphone assassin, the 12-time announcer of the year himself. So I'm really excited to kind of go through this and kind of recap what 2023 was.
Yeah, 2023 was a pretty amazing year, I have to say. And, coming off what you just mentioned in the cowboy himself, Tyler Kraft, I mean, what a great 2023 it was for him to get to be selected to not only go to the CF4, but the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo and have the pickup horse of the year. It's pretty amazing. That guy is, I always use it and overuse it probably as an announcer. It's like, that guy makes John Wayne proud. Like, if there's a modern day John Wayne, Tyler Kraft is it. And I just have tremendous respect for him. So what a cool time in 2023. But, I have to say, I think 2023 just collectively as a whole year, it was really cool to, I think, see Western sports back and really have a strong foothold again after having a year or two off. And then 2022, everybody was still kind of, I think, just feeling things out.
Yeah.
And 2023 is like, man, we're back. We're here. We ain't going anywhere. We're getting better, bigger, stronger, faster. So it was really cool.
Well, it's cool to see, like, you look at the numbers from this year, with membership was up, payout was up. There's tons of performances. I think that was a really cool part of it. Yeah. So you spent a lot of time on the road this past year. I want to know, kind of, before we get into the action inside the arena, I want to know kind of what were some of your personal highlights. Like you spent a lot of time out there. You're at all the big rodeos in the country. So what are some personal highlights for you?
I think kind of more of the same. Like, it was just really cool to see Western sports back and flourishing. And I think really it's just to see it trending in that direction. It's so cool. And now I think in my career personally, being, in it for over 20 years as an announcer and in the professional rodeo game since 2006, that's when I announced my first pro rodeo when I was 21 years old. And then to see the sport grow. But this year it's been really cool because as my career's kind of evolved, just a different look at how I see the events. And I've really come to just appreciate and be grateful for the opportunity to have a microphone and to get to tell the stories of all the incredible rodeo athletes that are out there. So I think for me personally, it was really a neat year. It was probably as much fun as I've ever had in my career. And there was as much enjoyment and joy out of doing my job as I've ever had. So personally, I think that was really, really cool for me. And I know, again, I've been leaning on this a lot, but just this idea of, like, why we do things. And really, I'm at the point in my career where I love the people so much. And I just want to do the best job I can for them, to give them everything I got, to just show my appreciation and love for the sport, and hope that maybe a little bit of that kind of leaks into the grandstand. So it's been pretty cool that way for 2023 for me personally.
Well, like one of the really cool things from, I guess, from the CFR, so at the end of the season, I guess you could say, but I loved the openings this year. It was last year in Red Deer. You guys, like, between you, Nikki Flunger, and Keenan Vine, you guys put a lot of effort into really bringing to life the openings with the representatives going the NFR by province, the working cowboy, like everything that came together. I thought that was some of the best openings at a rodeo that I've ever seen. Cool. And you could hear it in your voice, the emotion and how much that meant to you and how proud you were to be part of those moments. It was such a cool thing to be part of.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And you said some really important names there with Keenan Vine and Nikki Flunder. Nikki Flunder has really been such a huge force in building those openings for years and years. Ever since I went to my first CF4 in 2013, she was there as a huge part of the opening. And of course, her dad, Jim, who's really a legend in that game, preceded her and then brought Nikki in. And Nikki loves Western sports and rodeo and horses as much as anybody I've ever met. And then, Keenan Vine is just the master when it comes to production and trying to weasel in every little extra idea, thought, minute. And to see those two collaborate and come together with those ideas was really, really cool. And then to put some words down on paper and make it happen. And one of the things that I was probably most excited about this year, alongside those things that you mentioned, was the ability to really bring in that patriotic feel. I think that's always in our game, and in the roles that you've played and me as well. We often talk about, if we're to compare to the United States of America, and we say, hey, they're way more patriotic than we are. And I'm not sure that they're way more patriotic, but they express it more freely and in a different way, and they're more willing to. And there's this just immense external pride that we see. And having a little bit of time to spend some time down there and to talk to some other people about it, I had a chance to chat with Nikki and with Keenan, and I said, hey, let's maybe bring some more of this Canadian feel into this. And if we can is there spots for that? And of course, Nikki and Keenan were all for it, and the team at Westerner Park. And so we all just went to work on it. And even though it was just kind of 30 and 45 seconds, we just tried to kind of establish that real Canadian feel, because I know that I'm a proud Canadian. So proud of the country and the freedoms that we have and the people that fight for it. So I think that was one of the cool moments for me at the CFR, among many, but that was pretty special.
So we kind of alluded to it. There's a lot of great action throughout the rodeos this summer. There's 90-point rides, fast runs.
Yeah.
Moment after moment just kept stacking on top of each other. So what were some of your favorite things from the past season that you maybe got to call, got to see, that type of thing?
Sure. Man, I know I'm going to miss lots. Let me just preface, because there's so many.
This is not a top ranking list, right? This is just
right.
Leo,
Thank you. Yeah. I know we're going to be done. I forgot that voice. And I got the greatest job in the world to be able to call that action and have the best seat in the house. But one that came to mind was Tim Kemp. Later in the season, Tim Kemp would go to Armstrong. He was 3-5 in the SMS Pro Tour final, and he won a bunch of money to come kind of, out of nowhere and challenge for a position at the CFR again. And then at Oldstoberfest, he's 3-6, I think, to win that rodeo, to win, nearly $2,000 to kind of punch his ticket to another CFR. It's just kind of that late season charge from a really cool guy. And not that I know Tim well at all, but coming from Ontario and seems like such a great guy, really finished strong. So it was kind of interesting to see that body work, because of course, as an announcer, kind of mid-August, we're really starting to pay attention to those top 12, what stories are shaping up. And Tim was certainly one of them. I mean, he won the majority of his money in kind of that fourth quarter and that late season charge. So it's really cool to see that. I think another moment too that I wasn't a part of, but anytime that they break a record or do something like that, and when Tate and Kagan Schmidt were 3-3, at the tour finals there to really start the 2023 calendar year, that's pretty cool. They come from, generations of a team roping family and cousins and, fathers, mothers, grandfathers. Everybody's so important in that family when it comes to rodeo and team roping. And to see what they do is pretty sweet. Do you think 3-3? Like, that's amazing.
That's nuts, man. Yeah, that's the world record. That's tied for the world record. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, pretty cool. And then I think the other moment season-wise is just to acknowledge, like, the body of work that Lynette Broadway put together this season was phenomenal. And I was having a conversation with Dave Paulson right before the CFR, and he said, I think the only rodeo that she won was near the end of the year. Like, she had one win, and I'm not sure it was Edmonton or where it was. And pardon me, I should know. But like, she just, the picture of consistency, and showed up every time. And, just a record-setting kind of pace and season type of thing. So that was really cool for me to see.
Well, and that was the same thing at the CFR for her. Like, she didn't really shoot the lights out in any of the rounds, but she just was always getting times, like staying consistent and end up really good in the average. So like, that's the testament to that consistency throughout the year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool to see it. And I think too, another one that comes to mind throughout the season, and like, Strathmore is always such a good rodeo.
Mhm.
And again, no offense, I get to work so many wonderful perfs. I'm so fortunate. But that Monday in Strathmore, there's something about it. Even though it went
Yeah.
away from that final round, I mean, it's sold out, and Strathmore is just rocking and rolling. And Logan Hayes 89 there, I think, on
Mhm.
Elvira, Wayne Volds, and Edgar's 89 and a half. Bo Cooper's like a short 8.
Yep.
But the coolest moment was probably for Canadian Pro Rodeo was that they go ahead with um, the review, the video review.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
First time it
First one
ever
ever.
happened.
Yeah,
Like,
hundred
you talk
percent.
about making history, and I mean, and Tanner Gerlitz has been working so hard to
Mhm.
make that a reality alongside Denny Phipps, and with the support of the CPRA and some of its membership. It was really really cool to get to kind of fumble my way through that, and exactly what I did, because I'm like, what am I doing? What am I saying? I don't know. What's he? But it was really cool, and I just think it shows that the sport's progressing. So, man, there's so many cool moments. We
Yeah.
could go on for hours, but those are a
But
few.
the one I wanted to ask you about was, it's maybe not like a moment that stands out too far, or just with the season that Zeke Thurston had, but the
Yeah,
first round of the CFR when he got bucked
sure.
off, to how quiet that building went. What was that like for you being behind the microphone?
I think like everything else, it's like you're just shocked, right? Because it's
Yeah.
not supposed to,
No,
like you
no.
said, it just, you could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Everybody in there, right? Everybody in there just like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And it was and I always say too, and one of the things as announcers, we joke back and forth, and even when you and I get to work together, it's like, you know, I have my own opinion, and it's, lots of times it's wrong, but we'll be setting up a ride. We think somebody's going to be 85
Yeah.
and they're 77 and a half. I see the left side and I don't see the right. Down, oh, this is incredible. And they're like 77 and a half for a share of seventh.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness sakes, but same thing with Zeke. I mean, Sean Morton lays one in. I mean, it's just bringing the heat, setting the tone. I'm trying to drive the drama for, arguably the greatest of all time. And then I'm like, oh boy, at the end of the gate
Oh
comes down.
no. Yeah. It's
Oops.
like, dang.
Right. So really what I think he was doing is, I think, Zeke's such a nice guy. He'd plan that just to maybe let people think they had a chance to
Just
come and get
crack
him.
the door open just to
Right.
like do a
That's what
glimmer
I'm
of
going
hope.
with. So
Yeah.
yeah, but then seeing him just go back to work,
Oh,
like, just okay, all right, move on. And so now
yeah.
it's round number 2, and I'm going to go win that, and you're not going to catch me.
Yeah.
Any
And
young athlete needs to
mhm.
kind of watch what he does.
Yeah, like once he gets that motor, or that kind of momentum going, like there's no stopping him. We saw it in Vegas over the past couple of weeks. Like, just
Yeah,
win the first round, and then, okay, see you guys later. You're not going to touch me the rest of the way.
yeah, yeah. And he does it as such a proud father and husband and all of those things. So that's what's, so special about that guy. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's a good point you make about Zeke. With, like, if you're a young rodeo person, if you're looking for someone to emulate or kind of try and be like, that's the one guy. Like, and that's across the board, from how he operates in the arena, out of the arena, how he deals
Yeah.
with people in the media, people involved in committees and sponsors and that kind of stuff. Like, he covers the whole field when it comes to being a professional.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, as me, as a pretty proud father, and then in, the world I work in with the mental health and performance space a lot of times too, when I'm not at a rodeo, that guy's just, yeah, someone that so many people can kind of model their own life after, and, hopefully be really successful in it like he is, because stands up for what he believes in. He's authentic, and I mean, what you see is what you get. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful family man and a great talent. So pretty cool stuff.
So before we wrap things up, Brett, I want to jump into 2024. It's going to be a big season
Yeah.
across the board, pro rodeo wise. Pinoca's adding more prize money. We're going to be rolling, and you got some awesome stuff happening on your end too. So can you give us a little bit of insight what's to expect in 2024?
Yeah, man, I think 2024 rodeo wise, CPRA wise, I'm really excited. I think even just I'm going back to that, but the general trend,
Mhm.
everything just seems to be trending the right way. We've seen record crowds, and like you said, Pinoca's got more money. I mean, the last couple of years, we've seen the return of the Dawson Creek Spring Breakup. There's been the Valley West Stampede come back on board with the crew coming out of Cloverdale. Gateway to the West Pro Rodeo,
Mhm.
like just
Mhm.
the addition of stuff. It's just so cool, right? Lots of really neat opportunities. So lots of new stuff going on. So I'm excited for that, because I think that trend is going to continue. But this next generation is, even back to the idea of CFR, you had 3 or 4 guys, the Coy Schmidts or the Ashton
Mhm.
Sullys or the Jet Lamberts. Like, there's this next wave, the Cooper Rash. Austin Hines, the Bo Coopers of the world. It's pretty cool stuff. So I'm really excited to see those guys continue to grow within the sport. So that's probably what's most exciting. I'm excited for the CFR to return to Edmonton and whatever
Right. Oh,
part I
yeah.
get to play, whether it be
Yeah.
as an announcer, a fan, or whatever it may be. I think that's really cool too. I was fortunate enough to be a part of the CFR in Edmonton for a few years, so I got to see and feel what that city felt like. I also, got to spend the 5 years in Red Deer, which they did a tremendous job. I really felt, and I tell the story a little bit. I said the bittersweetness of it on it was maybe Saturday. Ben Anderson, I kind of missed it. Ben Anderson beat me to the punch, and he makes a really nice bronc ride. And Sean Morton's there, and I kind of missed it. But the crowd just came to it. They just came apart, and I
Yeah.
thought, we got him to a really nice point. Everybody had worked really hard to get him, and Red Deer was in a place that I think they were really liking the CFR, and I'm sure if things shook out differently, they'd love to keep it. But it didn't work that way, and that's the way it goes. And back to Edmonton, but also having had the opportunity to work inside Rogers Place and feel what that building
Oh,
feels
yeah.
like in the Western sports world is pretty exciting on my end for whoever gets the opportunity to call the action at the CFR, next year. So, looking forward to those things. And personally, I just I said it, I think, in my acceptance speech for announcer of the year, which I feel so fortunate and humbled to receive. But it's like, I finally feel like personally I've got this thing figured out a little bit, and I'm excited to go do my best work yet. So I'm really excited for 2024 personally, and time for me to kind of grow and evolve, and credit to the next generation of announcers that's coming, because they're working hard and they're pushing hard and playing the game, so it's been really cool. So it's reminded me that I got to get back to work and continue to earn these opportunities to tell these stories. So lots of cool things in 2024, my friend.
Well, man, we're super excited, and congratulations again on a great season. We really appreciate you joining us on the show, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that stuff. And we'll definitely catch up with you in 2024.
Likewise, my friend. Appreciate you.
All right. This has been the third episode of the Short Round Podcast. I'm your host, Wacey Anderson, and we will catch you down the road next time.